Ic2 Encyclopedia The Mind. The Mind under New Management, guided by the forces of the universe, your sacred counsel. Discover the secrets of the universe, which reveals an assembly or circle of 32 laws of universe and nature, or better said, the guiding forces of universe and nature, such as duality, time, change, attraction, cause and effect, order, place and function, and many more. We are all looking for change, struggling in so many ways and aspects of our life. We may have an advisor, a healthcare practitioner, a nutritionist, personal trainer, or even a lifestyle coach. But we don't have access to them all day long. So enter the circle of vital and aware living and meet the Sacred Council, your personal lifestyle and awareness coaching team, always ready to assist you in every moment and in any circumstance. We are like visitors in a foreign country without knowing the laws and how everything functions in that world. We know a lot about the things of the modern world, but know little about the basics of life. See how they assist us with every step we make and with every breath we take, and make them practical in your daily life in dealing with your real self, your soul, your mind and your thoughts, your body, words and communication, nutrition, fitness, your life partner, children, the teenage years, getting older, stress, weight, disease, emotions, business, destructive habits, preserving the planet, studying, and friendships. For more detailed information on each of the guiding forces, see the intro booklet. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and each subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives or angles. Most important, however, is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth, and not the truth. Because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always more that can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is formed from their particular point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. Hopefully, it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical, and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you will come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or a sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. The guiding force of the Creator. Make God a reality in your life. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, compare the mind with a computer. The original mind is called the universal mind, which is like a hard drive of this computer. It holds the information about the creation and how to live in harmony with it. These programs inside this mind computer are beautiful and practical, although they are from the mortal world, created in opposites, constantly changing, and also bound to time. Walking around in your body, your sense organs are the keyboard of this computer, through which you are in contact with the outside world. Your intended adventure was for you as a soul to come and experience the creation, but instead of just experiencing the things of the mortal world, you started to take it all for real. You started to identify with the mind, the programs, your body and the outside world. Your sense organs took over the show and are in the driver's seat instead of your soul, and you lost your direct contact with the Creator. You fell into a trap created by yourself, and instead of experiencing spontaneously things, you wanted certain experiences again and again, and others you thought you could keep out. You forgot that all in creation, including the mind, is a creation of opposites, bound to time and constantly changing. Within this computer, you started to create and condition your personal hard drive driven by the sense organs. Not knowing what happened, who you really are, where you came from, and what you were coming to do in creation, you now feel lost and lonely. Looking for security in a world which is impermanent, and not wanting to feel this loneliness, you just keep yourself busy with self-created reality programs. The original plan of the mind assisting you has now become the source of distraction. The life you have and everything happening in it is your dream world, an illusion. You have created these programs and realities by yourself, and you keep on creating new ones. You are now even thinking that you are humans, living in and being of the world. There are so many programs created after each other, programs on top of each other and mixed programs between all the information and realities. It is a labyrinth, an endless web and net, and it is very hard to see what triggers what and why is this and that. You might have to make a deep study on the mind in order to see how deep the rabbit hole goes, in which you have lost yourself. You have replaced the real you, the soul, with the mind, the body and the world around you. This is what you now call real, but which is not forever, as it is part of the created world, created in opposites, constantly changing, and bound to time. And what about the Creator of all, including your soul? Here we touch on something real, which is forever and everlasting. And that's where you need to start identifying with, at least when you really want to find out about real things like the soul and the Creator. You have to let go of the mind, the body, and the world, and go beyond them in order to find the real treasures. Quote, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Matthew 6:21. End of quote. The guiding force of the universal teacher. Master or be mastered. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that it can be trained in a very high degree of skill in any activity. But as long as you direct all energy out into the world, and not to the life-creating and life-sustaining force which has been given so many names, you are not the master of it. You just remain a slave, being busy inside the labyrinth of the mind. You are all inside this labyrinth called the dream world, Maya or illusion. This is the reality you are living in. It is a jail. You prefer to live in this prison, which you like to dress up for your comfort. Try to fight the mind and see that you cannot even overcome the simplest taste addictions. You need a master or teacher who has overcome the mind, who has become one with the life-creating and life-sustaining force, and who can guide you back to him. It is like walking a sharp razor edge, dealing with the mind, because the life-creating and life-sustaining force is connected to it and all thoughts. When any thought goes out into the world, realize that it creates a reality that you will have to live and deal with. The mind is just a communication device, which can only exist because the life-creating and life-sustaining force is connected to it. But when your mind is controlled by your sense organs and wants things from and in the creation, it keeps on creating a stronger web in which you trap your soul, depriving yourself of being something greater and living as something greater. The mind needs to get on a different track, at least when this is what you want, and it needs the help of a teacher, because you need teachers in your life for everything you learn. Although everything is within your mind, you need teachers and the right circumstances to connect, learn and master any skill and subject. The information, in order to go beyond the mind, is also within you, but is from above and beyond the realm of mind and matter. And for that you need a teacher who has gone that road and knows how to guide you to that inheritance. So you can master many things from within the mind, but you can as well master things from beyond the realm of mind and matter. Your desire will keep you in the realm of the mind, or it will get you beyond it. Quote, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. Lao Tzu. End of quote. The guiding force of the power of the mind. Know the tricks of your mind. In regards to managing and dealing with your mind, know that the mind was originally designed to let you as a soul operate practically in the material world. It was designed to make things easy for you, but just as you buy a computer to make your life easier, you have lost the original idea and are now slaves of the computer. Do not trust the mind until you have gone above and beyond its mortal realm. Realize the mind can justify anything, even killing. You have to stay in a state of being alert and awake, and when you slip out of that state of consciousness, you are instantly scattered in the world of mind and matter. By following the dictates of your mind, run by the sense organs and falling down in the negative passions, you become the mind itself, which is called the ego. You often speak about the devil, Satan and the negative power, but forget that it is you yourself in the hands of a corrupted and confused mind, directed by your sense organs. The mind offers you every thought and thing possible, because in the hard drive all is stored, but it is you who plays with these programs with the wrong intention. When there really would be a devil, Satan or negative power, it would not be able to bear the pain you cause to yourself, others and the world. As long as you are in the hands of the mind, history will repeat itself and there is nothing really to be proud of. The only escape is to learn to control it and to go beyond it, and for that you need a master teacher and all your effort. Quote, soul is powerless in the clutches of the mind, and mind is helpless before the senses. Maharaj Sawan Singh Ji, end of quote. It is a very sharp razor edge dealing with the mind, and not easy to stay awake and aware, concentrated and focused. And when you realize this, do not make it worse by overeating, taking alcohol and drugs, for it makes it all even more clouded and difficult. The guiding force of the true disciple. Follow the master and the teachings. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the Creator is waiting for souls that want to find Him. When you feel inclined to find out what the intended adventure is, who you are, and where you originally came from, He will send a guide. He will also reveal to you the tricks of the mind and show you how to work with it in a proper way. When this moment comes in your life, the distractions of the mind will become lesser and lesser, for you will experience something far better than anything you can find in the realm of body, mind and matter. But in general, you are all following your sense organs, dictating your mind, and following the mind wherever it wants to go. So, follow the instructions of your master and his teachings. It is getting a grip on the mind. Are you struggling in the world or struggling to rise above the world and realities of the mind? It may seem all an impossible task, but many before you have done it. When all goes well in life, you seem to forget why you're here and what your real aim of life is. Why does life become so miserable? It is only then when you think about your master and the teachings. You need to have compassion with yourself, others, and the world, for most individuals are under the dictates of the mind and sense organs. There is one fight you must fight, and that is to rise above the realities of the mind, or otherwise you have to stay in bondage. The ego and your attachments are strong chains, but a master doesn't put you on the path to fail. They know that you are ready, but you must put in the effort. Quote, "Start by doing what is necessary, then do what is possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible." St. Francis of Assisi. End of quote. The guiding force of your inner hero. Be the hero of your own life adventure. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that all of you are heroes, but the only difference lays in what dimension you play the hero. In your limited and conditioned world, you mostly fight as the limited hero with everything and everybody, and your life is filled with unnecessary struggle. This hero knows how to be a hero in just one or two areas in life, but is not a hero in many other aspects. When you understand that you can progress to a less intense and less painful experience, you discover a life in a more global and carrying way by becoming a universal hero. You become more connected as global citizens, and your task as a universal hero is to stay on this level and not to fall into the battle with the limited and conditioned mind reality. Then there is another hero, the spiritual hero, who derives his strength from a complete different and additional dimension. This hero tries to be at peace with everything and everybody by accepting life as it is. And this is already a battle within one's own mind, which tells you differently. It is like shaking hands with a world you all have your judgment on, a judgment which you do not need to have. It is making peace with yourself, but easier said than done. This hero knows that his greatest enemy is his own mind, creating all problems and obstacles. And like being in a labyrinth, the hero always finds a way to get out of any challenging situation or circumstance. Quotes, "By my love and hope I entreat you, do not reject the hero in your soul. Keep holy your highest hope." Thus spoke Zarathustra. Richard Tarnas. If you can find a path with no obstacles, it probably doesn't lead anywhere. Frank A. Clark. End of quotes. The guiding force of maturity and wisdom. Learn from the wise elders and nature. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that humans have an additional quality called reason, and can even become wise. Unfortunately, when your sense organs are dictating your life, and you let the mind do what it wants, you cannot speak or claim that you are even intelligent, and wisdom cannot be attained. Reason is about realizing, but not realizing things regarding the creation, but self-realization, which is discovering the real you, which is a soul, and God realizing, meaning realizing that soul is part of the Creator. Only on this level can you speak about real knowledge, realization, and attaining wisdom. Quote, "See how nature, trees, flowers, grass grows in silence. See the stars, the moon, and the sun, how they move in silence. We need silence to be able to touch souls." Mother Teresa of Calcutta. End of quote. The guiding force of fantasy and magic. Live your life as a magical adventure. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind is called the one with the many faces. But this is your reflection in the outside world, being the endless characters of your own mind. On the stage of the theater of life, you have created not just one you, but you play many characters, all having different faces. Having lost your identification with your soul and the Creator, you now identify with these characters, mostly doing what they want, and you again living with the consequences. All characters are within you, and there is no delete button. And they need a director, which is your higher you. They all need to be now accepted for what they are and guided by you. This is your task and your magical adventure. Keep reminding yourself that the mind is like an enormous toy store in which you can play forever, but realize that it is all just a make-believe, and watch out for taking anything too serious. You are God's children, and He loves you unconditionally and eternally, and He surprises you with His love every moment of your life, for He is inside all these gifts and experiences you receive. Quote, "There is no surprise more magical than the surprise of being loved. It is God's finger on man's shoulder." Charles Morgan. End of quote. The guiding force of translating messages. Decipher the symbolic meaning of messages. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that all you experience during your life, and this is every moment, that this is a very important treasure map, packed with clues and directions, but they need to be translated or decoded by you. Everything is basically a message, a symbolic message in disguise that lets you know about the tricks of the mind and the downfall of being in the hands of the sense organs. Everything is letting you know that life in creation is not everlasting and that you cannot find real peace, love, and happiness. Everything is reminding you constantly to turn your attention within and to go above the realm of mind and matter in order for you to claim your real inheritance. Quote, "Healing does not mean going back to the ways things were before, but rather allowing what is now to move us closer to God." Ram Dass. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of solids and earth. Feel connected and keep on experiencing new. In regards to managing and dealing with your mind, know that the mind is a manifestation of matter, and the energy is called ether, which is the thinnest material substance in existence. The duty of the mind is to keep you away from your soul and the Creator, keeping you busy with the things within your mind and reflecting themselves in the external world. By connecting to the things of the world, your mind will try to find security and will try to hold on to anything in order to feel being in control and secure. Under the dictates of the mind, run by the sense organs, you will do anything in regards to control and security, and are even willing to go at war for it. Leading powerful people in their field know this and offer you this false security. Just listen carefully or watch their advertisements. Their intentions is to become more rich and more powerful and trapping you from an early age for the rest of your life. You are just the slave of the mind and the things related to the world. As long as you think about worldly things, it will bind you to the world, and your thoughts and connections to the things of this world will go with you even after you lay off your earthly garment. The mind recycles itself only when you merge with the Creator or have only thoughts for Him. As little there is on what you can control in your life, there is a lot you can do to control it. Quote, "There is neither self-knowledge nor self-perception to those whose senses are not under control. Without self-perception there is no peace, and without peace there cannot be happiness." Bhagavad Gita. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of liquids and water. Go with the flow and in moderation. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, never forget that it is the duty of the mind to keep your soul captured in the body, by keeping you busy in this ever-changing realm called creation, in which you either go with the flow or where you are demanding change in ways you think that things should be. Realize that your mind, driven by the sense organs, always wants to run away from any commitment, thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. The mind makes you forget that you live in the world of opposites and that there are obligations connected to every experience. A mind driven by the sense organs loses easily the magical and mystical taste for life and falls down into the negative passion called lust, and acts this out in various ways, such as lusting after outcomes, lusting after addictions, lusting after power, money, name, fame, and lusting after self-righteousness. Go with the flow, than rather fighting against the waves of life, and feel guided. The soul knows that life in creation is just being on stage as an actor, who plays out its roles in an imaginary way, is creative, sticks to its commitments, is moderate in all its actions, is full of zest, and dances with and through all its adventures. Quote, "Prepare yourself for the world as the athletes used to do for their exercise. Oil your mind and your manners to give them the necessary suppleness and flexibility. Strength alone will not do it." Lord Chesterfield. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of heat and fire. Pace yourself in order to digest. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that a mind driven by the sense organs always wants to do more and more, doesn't want to know about the consequences, and even runs away from the moment into the past and future. The mind makes you forget that you live in the world of opposites, and that there are consequences for everything you think, say, and do. When your life is driven by the sense organs, know that you will lose the ability to adventure the creation innocently, and you will connect to fear and justify your anger. Driven by the sense organs, you will race through life and burn yourself out. As long as you think that pushing and forcing things is the way to get things accomplished, and do not want to think about what it does to the health of your body and others, you will end up in many battles and injuries. Realize that most of your actions are based on fear. The fear of possibly not getting what you want, not getting it on time, not being worthy or good enough, or wanting to be recognized. Play out your roles in a gentle, forgiving way. Show patience and pace yourself to have a good balance between action and by taking breaks in the adventure. Quote, "Mind alone is our enemy. It is with us to keep us away from the I focus." Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of gases and air. Embrace, endure, and love it all. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that a mind driven by the sense organs does not love unconditionally, but is set in what it likes, dislikes, loves, and even hates. A mind driven by the sense organs looks at life as something hard, lives a hard life, and takes things too hard at heart. The mind makes you forget that you are souls and that you live in the world of desires. A mind driven by the sense organs gives directions to the thoughts and visions and gets obsessed with the outcome. A mind driven by the sense organs loses its ability to embrace all the adventures and is picky of what it wants to let come in and not. A mind driven by the sense organs loses the endurance to go through situations it has to go through anyway, and also loses the stamina to accomplish long-term projects, or goes so intense that it runs itself completely out of air. Deep inside of you, know that the life in creation is just a momentary adventure, like being on stage as an actor. So love unconditionally your script and all its roles. Embrace every experience, inhale, let them circulate with ease and exhale them again. Quote, "Because of ego, we identify with me and mind, while if we were aware of the reality, we would understand that all belongs to the Lord. He has given us life in the creation for a short period of time. Our attachment to it blinds us to the fact of our transcendence." Miriam Boxer Caravella. The guiding force of ether connected to audible sounds and verbal communication. Realize that everything you hear and say is just an opinion. In regards to managing and dealing with your mind, know that the mind doesn't want that you connect and communicate with your real self, your soul, but wants you to communicate with the things of the world. Be careful thinking that you speak the truth, for the truth is a scientific experience and words can be interpreted and manipulated unendlessly. So stay alert when you verbally communicate your realizations, truths and visions, thoughts and visions, that they are not the truth, but a truth. When your mind, however, is driven by the sense organs, it does not communicate from a higher and neutral point of view, but has always its judgment ready and at the tip of the tongue, which binds you to the world. Realize that you mostly do not share, do not wait for a question, but impose your realities onto others, and for that reason ending up in argumentations and miscommunication fights, a battle of who is wrong and who is right. There is no need to convince another, because this indicates that you are not convinced yourself, and actually are still trying to convince yourself. When you are convinced, there is no need to convince another person. When your mind is driven by the sense organs, you lose perspective and you use words to gain power. It manipulates and you're not even aware of the consequences. This mostly indicates that you don't like to listen to other people's beliefs and opinions. You forget that everybody is conditioned in a certain way and that all is spoken is just a matter of opinion. Most of you have no patience to just lend an ear and listen to others. You have already the answers and your judgment ready. A more conscious mind knows that life in creation is just a momentary adventure, like being on a stage as an actor, and speaks like an actor, and knows that there is no real truth to all that which is spoken. Here you realize that all what is spoken is just conditioned and accept that fact, without using this as an excuse. It is only then that you stop using your thumb, expressing your will. Quote, with love and humility, forget each other's apparent mistakes or faults, and make due allowance for differences of opinion. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. The guiding force of ether, connected to the conditioned mind, associations, and non-audible communication. Stay aware of your limited and conditioned realities. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that everything you experience is based on your own recorded conditionings. The mind just reacts like a robot. Everything you think, say and do takes place within a very limited reality, not a universal and not a spiritual reality. Realize that even the choices you make are just coming forth from your conditionings. Are you really free? You are bound to conditioned actions, reactions, thoughts, wishes, feelings, tastes, smells, and many others. On this level of the mind, you are just connected to the familiar realities within your own mind, and there you feel safe. It is like playing the same computer program which were just for you to experience once in order to experience the next. You try to feel safe with and in the familiar. In addition to all these recordings, you added to each experience a feeling or emotion, which as well was just meant to be a one-time experience and not to get addicted to. Thus, you created an endless web of associations, and on top of it all, you created so many programs that are now communicating with each other. And this hard drive has gotten a mind of its own, so to speak. This is your ego, through which you judge the familiar world inside yourself and around you. Maybe it's time to step out of the shopping center of familiar realities and to open yourself up to the realities of the universal mind, or go even further in order to find out about the real you in that real world which lasts forever. Quote, it is not that we do not have any free will, but we have a conditioned free will. Huzur Maharaj Charan Singh, G. Open your eyes, see things for what they really are, thereby sparing yourself the pain of false attachments and avoidable devastation. Epictetus. End of quotes. The guiding force of ether, connected to the universal mind, higher virtues, and soul communication. Observe yourself. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that at this level of consciousness within the mind, that you are tapping into the universal mind. This is the place where all the great inventors, philosophers tapped into and found their treasures. It is the zone which athletes and great performers with their talent got connected to. It was at that moment when they got out of the way. At this space within your mind, you find all the undiscovered realities within your mind and who give you the opportunity to live more in harmony with yourself, others, and the world. Here is the storage chamber of all that was, is, and will be in the existence of creation. In addition, you can connect here with higher virtues: acceptance, humbleness, forgiveness, gentleness, moderation, and selflessness, and through which you can become a better global citizen without interfering with the spectacle called life. Unfortunately, when tapping into this realm, you do not use it to go further to find your spiritual abode, but become well-known individuals in your world who either crown themselves or are being crowned by others for their achievements. All this is just mind and mental stuff, which you call me and my world, and in which you try to organize security and comfort, forgetting that it is nothing more than a jail for the soul. You identify with the world of mind and matter, or discover your true identity and the world everlasting. There are two types of mind, the mathematical and what might be called intuitive. The former arrives at its view slowly, but they are firm and rigid. The latter is endowed with greater flexibility and applies itself simultaneously to the dive. Blaise Pascal. The greater our attachment to the divine melody, the more we become detached from which what holds us back and keeps us bound here. Hazur Maharaj Charan Singh. End of quotes. The guiding force of duality. Accept and deal with the duality in everything and everybody. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that whatever you experience, as long as you are in the body, connected with the mind, driven by the sense organs, and in the world, that you will have to deal with the duality in all. The mind is created with two faces, always denying and running away from one side and wanting to run after and secure the other side. You accept and you do not accept. You love and hate. You care and you don't care. You can like one side and dislike the other side of life, but do not forget that oftentimes the less wanted side, the one which is challenging, brings you the most. You learn from life. Your character is molded. You get stronger, and you can start looking at life from two sides. You might call one side wrong, judge even or condemn the other, but both sides stay part of the adventure of life. You can definitely pursue the more positive side of life, but never forget that the other side exists. You might even become strong and even think that you have overcome certain weaknesses, but always know that you are as strong as your weakest point, whatever that point may be, and it will always get you at your weakest point. Never forget that while experience the duality in creation, you can also learn to come from a neutral point of view, and hopefully rising above the phenomena of mind, intellect, and creation and matter, and experiencing your real self, the soul, being free of opposites. Quote, there must be a positive and negative in everything in the universe in order to complete a circuit or circle, without which there would be no activity, no motion. John MacDonald. End of quote. The guiding force of time. Learn to live in the moment. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind is a tricky time machine in which you can travel into the past and future. But realize that you can only really live in the moment. The past is gone and the future not here yet. When you understand that time is a trap within your own mind, and that everything will come exactly on time, and when you set your priorities right, that there is even time for everything. In general, you are seldom in your body, and you are time traveling, or wearing yourself out rushing through time in the moment. Realize that each thought can take you out from the moment, and you following that thought and disappearing completely from that moment, and God knows end up where. Quote, A desire arises in the mind. It is satisfied immediately, another comes. In the interval which separates two desires, a perfect calm reigns in the mind. It is at this moment freed from all thought, love or hate. Complete peace equally reigns between two mental waves. Swami Sivananda. End of quote. The guiding force of change. Learn to go with the ever-changing adventure. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, realize that the mind wants certain things to have changed instantly and other things not at all. The mind is always creating a battle between things it wants to change and other things which it wants to keep the same, and at the same time looking for security in the ever-changing world. You forget that the mind itself is part of the creation, a world that is constantly changing, to your liking or not. Seldom you want to go with the ever-changing experiences life has to offer, for you want certain things to change and others not, and this only to your expectation. And on the other hand, you want adventure, but you also want security. Quote, totally false is the structure of the world. Know thou this, O my friend, says Nanak, like the wall of sand, it remains not permanent. Guru Tegh Bahadur. End of quote. The guiding force of cycles. Tune into the natural cycles of life. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that everything runs in cycles, all continuously reoccurring and giving you different feelings and experiences in your adventure. Most of the time this adventure is not appreciated or even acknowledged. You get so easily impatient while going through a particular part of a cycle and want to be already in the next. You complain about certain aspects of the natural cycles of life. Everything is part of a cycle, and when you go with these natural cycles, everything goes much easier and smoother. Know as well that inside the mind, each thought and reality, which once was to be a one-time experience, is now part of a cycle. Each thought can take you on an adventure that has no beginning and no end, being a circle or wheel in which you trap yourself. This picture is to let you know that the mind itself is part of a cycle and will cease to exist, but it doesn't want to give this up. Just like you do not want to give up things regarding your conditionings and familiar world. Reconnect more and more with the real you and the real world within you, and step out of the ongoing cycles and windmills of your mind and the ever-returning cycles of experiences in life's adventure. Quote, man appears for a little while to laugh and weep, to work and play, and then to go make room for those who shall follow him in the never-ending cycle. Aidan Wilson Tozer. End of quote. The guiding force of balance. It is nature's duty to recreate balance. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind will keep you busy looking for the perfect balance in an imperfect world, in which perfect balance is not possible. Remember that the mind has the duty to get you out of balance, away from your spiritual inheritance, which is the answer to real and permanent balance. At the same time, it is the duty of the force of balance to always restore balance when an imbalance occurs. I will make you aware of them first in a subtle way, trying to tune into your intuition and inner sense of understanding. But when this doesn't get your attention, I will make you aware in more physical terms, through more obvious signs, and when this doesn't help, I will make the situation so devastated that you will have to wake up and do something. You are the creators of the imbalances within your own mind, from the challenges, confrontations, and struggle you experience in any aspect of your life. Even the deforestation, the global warming, the wars and problems in the third world, you are contributing in one way or another. But what are you willing to do about it? When you do not lead a conscious life and experience imbalance, you straight away create new imbalances, even when you went through some challenges to recreate balance. Quote, "No one can describe the glory of the moment when the mind is still and the soul is in a state of complete absorption. Swamiji Maharaj." End of quote. The guiding force of necessities. Simplicity is the key. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind is like a shopping center, always keeping you wanting more and more and letting you forget that by doing so, you have to work more and have more obligations. There are very little real needs. You need some shelter, clothes, food, water, air, sunshine, and some work to provide some of these essential needs. You either experience a simple and content life in all its aspects, or choose to complicate life by adding and adding, resulting in consequences and endless obligations. You can always simplify things, from scratching things off the to-do list, your meals, your workout, to the way how you think. When the complexity of life has taken you, it is all because of your own doing, but never forget you can also return to simplicity by just taking care of the basic needs of life and enjoying the simple things of life. To keep things simple, you need to control the mind, and to be able to do that, you need to be with your real self, the soul, the spirit. The needs of the soul are far less than the needs of the body and the endless things your mind wants. Just be in contact with it through silent prayer and meditation. Quote, "Simplicity is making the journey of this life with just baggage enough." Charles Dudley Warner. End of quote. Quote, "When wealth in the house increases, when water fills a boat, throw them out with both hands. This is the wise thing to do." Kabir Sahib. End of quote. The guiding force of wholeness. No need to go more into separation. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind loves to separate everything in parts and pieces, creating an endless puzzle to keep you busy in the world, looking for missing pieces. As long as you think that there is something missing, you will be discontent. And when you get that piece, what you think is missing, in any aspect of your life, you are not again content. There is always something else missing. You look at everything in pieces and forget to look at the essence and the wholeness that is within everything, and that holds everything together. All is already whole and complete, even your life and all what is happening in it. Quote, "Just as love is an orientation which refers to all objects and is incompatible with the restriction to one object, so is reason a human faculty which must embrace the whole of the world with which man is confronted." Eric Fromm. End of quote. The guiding force of comprehension. There is always more than you can see or comprehend. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that you look and analyze from a very limited perspective, connected to the conditionings and educations you had. As long as you realize this, you hopefully do not end up in making statements and conclusions that say this is why and this is the truth, I have figured it out and I understand. Quote, "Say not, I have found the truth, but rather, I have found a truth." Kahlil Gibran. End of quote. It is only from the level of your soul that you can see why every detail incident in life is perfectly constructed, and that things that are happening are for the freeing of your soul and not for worldly gain. The guiding force of improvement and perfection. There is always room for improvement. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind will keep you busy looking for that perfect thing, place, or person in the imperfect world. Be busy with improving yourself, but always ask yourself if it is for your ego, vanity, power, or is it just for your pocket? Or is it to be independent of the help of others, and you contributing to the lives of others and being busy with improvements? Perfection in an imperfect world is impossible, but there is something perfect in you, which is your soul. But you are seldom actively with it. Stay consciously connected to your soul and improve yourself to be a better person, friend, and citizen. But do not get trapped looking to perfect anything or anybody. Quote, as different streams having different sources all mingle their waters in the sea, so different tendencies varies, though they appear crooked or straight, all lead to God. Swami Vivekananda. End of quote. The guiding force of order, place, and function. Everything is part of an order and has a function and place. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind will keep you busy complaining about your body, the position you have in life, and the circumstances you're in. Stay consciously connected to your soul and inner happiness, for the duty of the mind is to make you unhappy, giving you ideas, searching for that happiness in worldly objects, in which permanent happiness cannot be found. Just accept your script of life, do your best, and stay aware that it is all just a momentary movie in which you can play many roles. Take your place and play your roles well, but do not identify with them. Stay aware of the tricks and traps of the mind. Quote, you have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. Albert Einstein. End of quote. The guiding force of cause and effect. Every action has not just one reaction, but causes a chain reaction and creates a reality you have to deal with. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the reality you live in today, how you experience yourself, others, and the world is the sum total of all actions and reactions of your past. Most of you will not even accept this fact and rather point out with the index finger and blame others for the reality you are living in at this very moment in time. You may like or dislike the reality, but you are the creators of it. Every thought and action inside a creation is making a deal and contract with the mind, who is in charge of keeping you distracted, attached, and attracted to the creation. Quote, to do nothing at all is the most difficult thing in the world, the most difficult and the most intellectual. Oscar Wilde. End of quote. The guiding force of contraction and expansion. Quality or quantity? In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind has the capacity to let you experience endless realities and basically capturing you as a soul in its domain. It will not stop you expanding in its endless realities, and there is always more. Use the mind and get it on another track, and contract its outward tendencies through meditation and silent prayer. The secret of good living is to be found in quality and not in quantity. Become a better manager of the mind and guide it from the level of your soul. Quote, when the tendency of the mind is outward,
it is attached with matter, and when it looks inward it gets detached from matter and tries to know the spirit, which naturally has an inward tendency. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote.
The guiding force of repetition. Using the ability to repeat for the right reason and purpose.
In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the capacity of repetition is there to help you in acquiring your basic skills in order to proper function in the world you are visiting. You are busy with this capacity all day long. You are learning new things through repeating them. Either this is at your home, your work, in sports, or in other skills you are training yourself into. You are also busy with repeating the same things over and over again, and this is from the way you think about yourself, others, and the world, to the tastes you have developed and the way you speak, walk, act, and react. This doesn't only include the positive, but also the negative conditionings and habits you have repeated over and over again. You talk so much about freedom and free will in your world by your thinking, but your thinking, your actions, reactions, tastes, and emotions are completely conditioned. Anything is already based on your conditionings, yes, even the choices you think you make. You are like a parrot, not even a parrot in the jungle, but one in a cage built by yourself. Your life was meant to be an adventure, of an ongoing experience of new things, but by using the power of repetition, you have created endless patterns that now dominate your life and restricting you in experiencing the new. So break away from these patterns that take away your adventure. Quote, pray till prayer makes you forget your own wish and leave it or merge it into God's will. Frederick W. Robertson. End of quote.
The guiding force of reflections. All your experiences are a reflection from within yourself.
In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that everything you experience is a reflection from within your mind. You would not be able to recognize or experience anything when you would not have that thought, picture, feeling, smell, and taste already within you. The greatness you see in others, the ugliness, the beauty, happiness, and the pain, it is all within you. You keep on experiencing life from an external point of view in which you point out and explain everything through external happenings. By doing so, most likely making yourself into a victim of circumstances. Or you seek to understand that everything is already inside your mind and that everything you see and experience is a reflection from within you and your mind. Quote, better keep yourself clean and bright. You are the window through which you must see the world. George Bernard Shaw. When the mind is clean with the jewel of spiritual wisdom, it does not become dirty again. Sri Guru Granth Sahib. End of quote.
The guiding force of rhythm and vibrations. Realize that what you are, you will attract or repel.
In regards to managing and dealing with your mind, know that the sum total of all you brought with you into your life and all your experiences, from the things you thought and learned and ate and saw and smelled during your life, made you what you are today. Everything is and has an energy vibration, and the sum total of all these vibrations is you as the vibration. Your personal energy vibration or rhythm will keep you connected to similar energy vibrations, like a magnet that attracts or repels. So you either attract gentle and loving, magical and harmonious things, circumstances and positive people, or you attract the negative and struggle in every aspect of your life, all being a result of what you think, do, eat, and eat. Whoever, a quote, whoever possesses God in their being has him in a divine manner, and he shines out to them in all things. For them all things taste of God, and in all things it is God's image that they see. Meister Eckhart. End of quote.
The guiding force of service. Learn to serve and care.
In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind is egocentric and only wants to be served. Your mind, driven by the sense organs and negative passion, just wants things from this world, and when it serves, it has a reward in mind. The mind not driven by your soul cares only for itself, and it doesn't care what the consequences are. It justifies anything and is willing to destroy the body, others, and the planet. Running around in this world and presenting yourself with your ego and intellect and even diplomas is running around without a soul. It is about what you bring to the table as a person and how you contribute and serve with the highest virtues such as unconditional love and compassion. Just look around you and realize that everything in nature serves everyone unconditionally. The essence of the Creator is in everything, and this essence is just love. It just gives and serves without any expectation. That essence is also within you, and you have to see what you want to do with it. You either want to be served and will never be satisfied, or you serve the Creator and the creation without expectation and may find some happiness. The reward of caring and serving is within the caring and serving itself. Quote, because of ego, we identify with me and mine, while if we were aware of the reality, we would understand that all belongs to the Lord. He has given us life in the creation for a short period of time. Miriam Boxer Caravella. End of quote.
The guiding force of individuality. There is no need for comparing and competing.
In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that there are no two things in creation alike. Everything and everybody is totally individual and unique. There cannot be two moments or experiences exactly the same. They may feel the same, but they are not. So the greatest challenge lays in accepting and respecting this and not to go into comparing and competing. On the physical plane, all is individual and unique, and on the level of the soul, you're all the same. Quote, once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. Albert Einstein. End of quote.